I think of it as a kind of developing two-track society. And if you're of low socioeconomic status in New Zealand, you're going to have a very different life than if you were able to access permanent housing and draw upon the bank of mum and dad. Historically, we've been in this position before. We built out of it across the 20th century, and then we changed our minds in the 1990s. Our key policymakers and political figures at the time embraced this belief that the market could solve our housing challenge. And I thought, well, I want to study why it is that New Zealand built up this quite comprehensive welfare state and had these far better social outcomes, and why we trashed that system, why we moved away from it. And I grew up on the North Shore in Auckland in the 1990s, and my mum was a sole parent for some of that, and we experienced the joys of precarious housing, of having to move from rental to rental. Housing policy must revolve around the needs of citizens rather than for those whom housing is a kind of commodity or a financial tool. In Singapore, that's a very modern, hyper-capitalist society, right? Well, the median house price is only 500,000 New Zealand dollars. And why is that? Its government corporation builds the houses and investors can't buy them. And what that does is it keeps the houses in the control of people who actually need to use them, rather than making them the playthings of investors. The good thing about New Zealand is that we are still a very small society, and you can have a voice and make quite an impact just as a few people. A lot of the time, the major solution to our housing crisis in New Zealand was suggested that it was just councils not letting enough urban land be released, and we just thought that was not true. So yeah, we had these the 4Ds, as you call them, and it was an attempt to rethink our current political economy of housing. And we think that if you were to design new policies to lead in the direction of those four things, you'd end up producing a system that was healthier, fairer, and actually, housed people.